we're here. 11 seconds lag. Oh no. Actually, I noticed something. It's way too far gone in the chat now, but there was like a message I sent, and it showed up on the stream, but like in the YouTube chat, it wasn't there. Because it did the refresh, and then it was gone. So, I don't know why the chat's been refreshing the way it has. But anyway, it's getting caught and shows up on stream. So that's good. That means I see it. Any hoozle, hello, hi. We are here. I'm gonna have to stop listening to this N64 music, man. It makes me pine for the old days. But you know, it's crazy to think. Like, what the youngins will not grow up with. You know, some for better. But like, video games now, like there's obviously some good ones, but we have the technology's way up here. But the experience is so mediocre. Like, I just don't... The music. Let's just the music, for example. Like... Use, am I right? But think about it. Like, you know, some of these old N64 tunes come on. And for those of us who grew up with it, we're like, oh, man, I remember that. Like, that's so good. The GoldenEye music, you know. All that stuff. Some of the old Bomberman 64, you know, whatever your flavor was. Do you, and not just to hate on Baldur's Gate 3, but like, do you think 20 years from now, anybody's going to hear some music from Baldur's Gate 3 and be like, man, those were some good times. I remember that game. So good. You know, are the memories going to hit them? I don't think so. I just don't think so. And that's not to say all modern games are just, like, Skyrim has a pretty beautiful soundtrack. Even though it had access to the modern tools, right? Even though it was, what, 15 years ago at this point? But you get the idea. BG3 opening will stick around. It's really good. See, I felt like well, not most of the tracks, because I didn't play that much of it, but like, there was just, they kept using the title music in different ways. But I don't know. But that's the thing, like, it was good. I will give it that. Not the game, but that track. Like, yep, that was wonderfully put together and it sounds nice, but like, I don't think it will hit the same as the old tunes that had restrictions on them. And then there was that whole argument for restriction breeds creativity and all that. So BG3 slander. See, that's the thing. You barely paid attention to the music during gameplay. Like, that's the quality of it, you know, has gotten so high as far as just straight audio quality and crispiness of it and all that. And the fact that you can have an entire orchestra in your game now. But it just fades into the background, like you don't perceive it. It's, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of music in general, like, which might surprise some people like Glee, because I'm always talking about how much I hate music. It's just, I'm very picky about it, but like, I really, really love old video game music. Because it took a lot to make. Just those little beeps and boops, you know? They were very limited. I think, what was it, the NES? It could only process like 7 sounds at a time or something. I forget how it worked. It's weird, that chip in there that worked. And then what's his name did to just make it sound like orchestras and all this other stuff. It's crazy. But anyway. Hi, Cat. You showed up in the nick of time, right at the start of the stream. Does anybody want a cat? I was a Sega kid, so the music on Genesis is iconic. Yeah. So I didn't have a Sega growing up. I had a friend who had one, but I could probably count on one hand how many times I played it, and it was probably only for about 10 minutes tops each. So I do not have that nostalgia part of it. Like, if I hear it, it's like, but I have picked up many a Sega tune way after, you know, their time, just listening to video game music. And yeah, some of my preferred tracks were from Sega. Sonic's got some good music, man. So, and that just goes to prove it's not just like, oh, you prefer the old video game music because, you know, it's what you have as a kid. It's like, nope, there's several tracks that I have heard long after the fact that still hit pretty good. But yeah, like Starfield, the only reason I'm thinking Starfield because I just saw the shortcut on my desktop. But like, I could not pick out the first track. Like, you could show me a bunch of music, have me listen to it. I would not be able to tell you what was from Starfield. And I had no idea Skyrim had so many tracks. I thought it was just a few. Granted, they are pretty similar. But... anyway. Don't know if y'all knew. Peter hit 10K recently. Ooh, you gonna have a 10K stream celebration where we all eat cake and drink beer? I'll eat cake and drink beer for you. Nobody else does. We had... yeah. That one buddy was only Sega kid I knew. There wasn't a lot of video game consoles around here anyway. People just weren't into it. But we always had Nintendo. As the game quality goes down, as the music quality goes down. Not sure what you'll do on it yet. You will count from 1 to 10,000 live. That is what you'll do. That's the whole stream. Fun fact, I don't know how true it is, but apparently that's kind of what got Mr. Beast going when he figured out, oh, hey, ridiculous challenges. That's what people like. He counted from like 1 to 1,000,000 or something. That just live streamed the whole thing. Like butter and divorces in the Netherlands. My goodness. Alright, so we need to make... I feel like there's something else I was going to say, but that's whatever. Probably video game related. Not part of the stream anyway, so let's pop open Word. So... actually, we might work on buffing the mole first, just because that'll probably be easier than making a ton of inclinations. I got a box of new test posters. Ooh, so I'll probably open those live, show off some books I got at Gen Con, and talk about all the projects I got cooking. Cooking. Good stuff. Mr. Beast and all the others are under the same company, Night Media. I heard there's like this company going around buying them up. And that's one of the... it's the same company that bought Veritasium. And, you know, and then their quality just... technically their quality goes up, but like... something you actually want to watch goes down. You know, gets kind of clickbaity, and you won't believe this, and... the amount of content goes up. Kind of easy to make it when you got 30 billion company behind you. That's right. I wouldn't mind 30 billion in the bank. Let's see. Let's go up to... and the other ones might... the other species might need a buff too, or tweak it. I just happened to see this the other day. I was rolling up random characters. Vomit emoji. So the mole, I feel like, needs a little tweak because he's got burrow, which boondall digging tasks, and can dig much faster, but he can also burrow underground, and he has the blind sense because mole, darkness means nothing to you. So darkness isn't a big factor. So basically the mole's in the same position the otter was in, if y'all remember that. The otter had some water-based perks, and it was like, well, okay, but that's cool, but it's very conditional. Right? Like you could play multiple one-shots and that never come into play, which would feel kind of... so that's why we gave the otter the ability... we wanted to lean into the fact, you know, otters can use rocks as tools in the real world, so he can do the jury rig kind of thing. He can just make an item on the spot that's good for one use. So that balanced, leveled him out, gave him something he could do, and then... if you were in that special condition where water was involved, then he would really shine. So the mole's in the same boat. No pun intended for the water stuff, but he needs... I'm fine with these perks he has. He just needs something he can rely on regularly. And Glee was spitballing some things the other day, talking about his really long claws. maybe something to do with that. And I was like, well, gee, could he just straight up have a boon to melee as long as he's using his claws? That'd be pretty strong. That'd be too strong. But I'm not sure what else to get him. Could be something with the big claws, boon done up. Well, yeah, that's what I was just saying. Get with the program. Moles have poison? I feel like there was one of those animal shorts about that. Those things are great. I can't remember what they're called, the little animated ones. Love the delay. Yeah. I got it on not the minimal because that was messing up some people's streams, but whatever the low one is. They paralyze prey with their poison. Okay. So maybe like once a round. Natural habitat shorts. Yeah, those are so good. Yeah. Even Wisp's got it. Yeah, wasn't that a mole in that one where the little kid bites the kid at the playground? He's like paralyzed, and then the dad does it to the other dad to run away. Z Frank is the OG Weird Animal Facts channel. I just threw my marker. Those were moles. Ah, okay. Shrews. Close enough. Okay, so maybe like a how would that work? Paralyze an enemy for 1 round, or one round, and that's something you can do once per combat. I guess I could be writing these down. Let's see. To the board. Mole things. Whoop. Whee. That's tiny font. We can make it a little bigger. Ba-da. Casual geographic. I say, what else does a mole have going on for him? Let's look up some fun facts. Mole fun facts. Moles are fascinating creatures. 10 interesting facts about moles. Let's punch the mic. That hurt my finger. There are 7, or I could just put these over here. Boop. 7 North American mole species. Moles spend most of their time digging. Moles can smell and stereo. I think I knew that. Moles only eat insects. One solitary mole's range can extend. Does that mean like they take up almost 3 acres of space? Moles are most active after a rainy period. A 6 roll with certain charges on if the poison enemy, or maybe it should be a miraculous roll. Moles are notoriously hard to drown or suffocate. Well. I guess that probably makes sense, you know, it rains and they're underground. Moles can survive a long time underground. Moles are alone most of the time. Despite their looks, moles are not rodents. Mole spit is poisonous. You can spit. Alright, we might have to take that one. Alright, let's scroll down to the... Worms are paralyzed by poison and mole saliva, allowing the mole to collect and store them as food. Get the dirt out of a worm's stomach, a mole can squish an earthworm. Wow. 20 things you didn't know about moles. Little or no eyesight and a penchant for tunneling. The star-nosed mole. Okay, alright. Well, let's do something with the poison spit. Because when players get poisoned, that gives them a boon to, or I mean a bane to everything. Definitely not a boon. Yeah, that looked like a terrible article, didn't it? Just looked like junk. So, yeah, anyway, that gives everybody a bane. And then, the harvester has a poison kit, which kind of does the same thing. So, we can't overshadow that. So the poison kit can add damage or give an enemy a bane to everything, and you have 6 charges of that. So could the poison like paralyze the mole, it was saying, right? So, or paralyze the worm. So what is... Can bite while grappling and inflict a bane as long as you stay biting? Well, that's kind of how grappling works anyway. When you're grappled or an enemy is grappled, whatever you're trying to do rolls with a bane. Unless you're trying to just break free. So I'm wondering, if you say, well, you can just paralyze an enemy for 1 turn and you can only do it once per combat. It'd be kind of silly to be able to do that to like a whole bear or a hollow tongue, but I guess you could say normal sized creatures. A creature of your size or smaller. Yeah, they're easy to just kind of overlook and forget. And you're like, oh yeah, there's already a thing for that. Oh, I'm getting stuff sent. Oh, that's for later. Okay, let's see. Also need to have this chat open. True facts about the star-nosed mole. It's such a creepy thumbnail. Because I think, didn't we have, and I got rid of it, wasn't there a predator ability that lets you just freeze an enemy in place? And I was like, yeah, that's silly. I think that used to be one of these slots right here. Negated enemies. Yeah, we did used to have that. Because Peter used it one time, and when they were fighting hawks, he's like, I'm just going to keep the hawk frozen in place. And I was like, that's silly. So I got rid of it. Dang it, Peter. Ruined my game. That's why we test things. Okay, so I would be fine with saying a creature of your size or smaller. I don't know. Poison, that's spit. Paralyze a creature of your size or smaller for 1 round. Can be used once per scene. What's going on here with my text box? Whee! They aren't breaking the game, they aren't trying. That's right. That's right. I tried to make overpowered cornbread and Tales from Elsewhere and he wouldn't let me. It's ridiculous. Who knew cornbread didn't work as a silencer for your revolver? But a can of beans did. I can't remember. Did I even get to fan the hammer with the can of beans, or was it just the one shot? I think I got to obliterate the can of beans with fan the hammer. Right. Now, if we went the big claws route and we gave him a boon, you only let me do it for one? Ah, tragic. That was a cheap can of beans. And then I tried to do it with cornbread, and it just went. Pfft. Cornbread exploded and did absolutely nothing, but it was fun. It does live on, and I'm so happy. Oh, it's my contribution to TFE. Oh man. A book falling is louder than, how do you say that, Nagant revolver? It's glorious. Pork and beans. Alright, so if the mole had a boon to just, as long as he used his claws, I guess if you're a melee individual, I feel like that would just kind of get in the way. It'd be redundant for so many classes, right? Let's see. If you were a shield bearer, it wouldn't apply because you're always stuck at 1d6. If you were the barbarian, I don't guess it would. You wouldn't use it because you'd be grabbing things you can use as a two-hander weapon. But I guess it would come in handy for barbarian if you didn't have something. Hollow tongue hunter, you would be. I don't know. Yeah, I guess you could technically lose your pole arm somewhere, but most likely it wouldn't come into play. It'd be good for scholar. It'd be good for priest. They would benefit from that. Okay, I guess it'd be a good pick. Corrupted would benefit. Okay. Well, I'm a liar. I guess all these would benefit from that except shield bearer, hollow tongue hunter, you know, the warrior based ones. Reptile rider has a ranged boon. But that'd actually be pretty darn strong. Swarm master wouldn't. Boon to melee attacks when using your bear paws, not to be confused with bear paws. I'm so funny. Oh, it refreshed again. Don't do that, YouTube. Why you broke? Alright. Frog tosser would benefit. Can't remember the model, but it was from the Nagant line of guns. If you want to pull an Anton and carry a big-ass suppressor as a cowboy hitman, taking inspiration from those guns ain't a bad idea. Well. Okay. I might do the big cloth thing, because that would, like, that'd be a big old buff. Which makes sense, since their other thing's so limited. So let's try that. Mole. And then I'll do this. I don't know what to call it. What is called big claws. As long as you are using your own claws, melee attacks with +1 boon. What is it? Now, what is the wording on this one? Does not stack with other melee, but okay. So yeah, it doesn't stack. Alright, well that was easy. Now we need to make more inclinations. We gotta fill out 3 on that table and 6 on the other table. Because ideally, I would have 6d6, right? Or not, I'm sorry. You roll 2d6 to choose some inclinations. Cannot gain a bane on melee attack. Ooh. Natural killer. That would be interesting. But see, that would... If you're using your own limbs, you're going to be at 1d6 anyway. So... If you just have the constant boon and you end up getting a bane, you just stay at 1d6, whereas you normally have 2d6. So I think that would be more impactful. The poison spit would have been fun, but I don't know what to do with that. People can be like, what? Owls have poison? That don't make no sense. And then go look it up. Learn something. Oh, there's a new one. You like the mocha. Okay. Yeah, so... And I believe it was your idea. The shield bearer has something like that already. It's where they're just constantly at 1d6. They cannot go up or down with their melee attacks, so... I feel like that might just be doing the same thing. So what are critter-based inclinations? Because I got a lot. All these purple ones, these are just straight out of UZD6. So didn't see the need to reinvent the wheel on a lot of these. I mean, they got new names, but... So what do rodents got? What do these critters got? They got fur, they got claws, they got teeth, tails. No wings. Recycling my own idea. It has, hey, we hit a year recently, remember? So. I think we got a climbing boon in there, I'm pretty sure. Climber, there it is, boon to climbing. Got something for an extra strike. We got stuff that gives you more karma. Wide vision, strong sniffers are jumpy and always ready for a predator to jump out. We do have some that you can't be snuck up on, and you can do the sneaking. Spotting and disabling traps with the nose. Boon to hiding. Sharp instincts, cannot be surprised, and have a boon to avoiding traps. Do we have any swimming ones? Of course, I feel like that's too... whatever. Niche. Quiet as a mouse. Cannot receive fall damage. That's a squirrel perk. Camouflage. I thought, well, we have the sneaky one. It keeps you hidden. Oh, wait, there's also a light sleeper. It can be alert while sleeping, preventing sneak attacks. So, I would say, and if we can't come up with enough to fill 6 tables, that's fine. I don't want to force it and make it silly. I just would like them to be, everything to be a die size of some kind. So like there are 12 classes, so you can roll a d12 to pick one. There are 8 species, so you can roll a d8 to pick some species. And then, so you know, if it's 3 tables, that's fine. If it's 4 tables, that's fine. 5 is not okay. Maybe camo makes it easier to hide in plain sight. I was thinking, well, there is a tinker tool. I think that's just a ghillie suit. Yeah, right there. Ghillie suit. So you don't want to make that useless. Let's do this. I don't know if I checked out Wasted World. See what kind of inclinations it had. It had a lot more than base easy d6. Inclinations. Eat from the dead. Carrion eater. Ooh, like. Maybe like a way to let everybody heal themselves. Would that be too strong? Like you could do it once a day. Feast on the dead. That's not a bad idea. Let's put that on the board. That's the wrong interwebs. Let's do inclinations. Is that how you spell that? Once a day, heal 1 strike. Well, that's not bad, right? Can't eat sandwiches? I still eat a sandwich. What's up, Cyros? Cannibalism, you say? No. Maybe. Double coat? What is double coat? Or is that part of the camo thing? Two strikes a day, but can't use Sammy's. Maybe. Or 2 strikes a day, but can't use Sammy's. Oh, some animals have an undercoat that help protect them. Yeah. It's true. Mini feature town, essentially it's what they are. Can I push that over there? And if I do, yeah. What's that? Ah. There we go. A little small, probably hard to read, but double coat dog. Alright, acrobatic boon to precarious circumstances. Don't we already have that? Can only be knocked prone. Boon to all social checks. Well, that might be one. I feel like animals are already good at that, but everybody's an animal, so I guess not. Maybe that one. Animal empathy, gain a boon to animal interactions. Well, we're all animals. Animals gaze on you with favor. Oh, there's the butts. Zow, gone. Long tail, dealing with balance? Yeah. That'd be cool. Now, I feel like I did have the thought. Yes, we're all animals, but like, there's still wild animals in the world. So like, maybe you can convince a bear to leave you alone? Split up the different senses? Maybe. Friendly face, first social encounter with someone has a boon. We do already have, of course you can't, I got the PDF in the way you can't see it. We have familiar sense, which is a boon to all social checks. So we got that one covered. Athletic, boon to running, jumping, and climbing. See, Wasted World has so many more inclinations that do like smaller things because you get so many more points, or you get to choose so many more inclinations. It's like pick 3 or 4 from this tree and then pick 5 from this tree. So, or list. We already have Cadillac. Boon to strength tasks and breaking or initiating grapples. I know the hedgehog has a something for that, but there isn't a straight up inclination. Prosthetic inorganic appendages allow you to interact easier with. Ooh, how would that work? Because we have a, well, there is one poison resistance right there. Your poison saves roll with a boon, so we have that. You know, it'd be kind of funny. It's like prosthetic limb is the inclination. And it's like once per combat, your limb, if you fail an armor save, your prosthetic limb takes the hit and falls off. So it's basically like a temp HP every combat, but that would totally outshine the one that just gives you an extra strike. Unless it like gave you a boon or a bane to your attacks. Yeah, basically. Wisp, that's what I was saying. I haven't played Sekiro, but take your word for it. So let's try that. That's kind of fun. Fake limb, because I don't know how to spell prosthetic. Once per combat, if you fail an armor save, your limb can take the hit and fall off your body, giving you a bane to all attacks. Still defend yourself, though. Prosthetic has limited strikes. Yeah, I always like the idea of things like that, and like shields having their own HP and stuff, but it's too much to keep up with. Alright. Comfortably numb, boon to resist mind control. Well, we don't have that going on in whatchamacallit, Moss and Stone. Cyborg. Oh, hey, there you go. There's your fake limbs. Choose a type. Limit 1 each. Reinforced arm. Melee crit with a boon. I feel like we have that. Don't we? But it's like melee specialist, right? Okay, well they crit lower, not with a boon. It's eyes, tracker module. Cover save. We don't have a cover save. Gain an extra strike. We already have that. Damn lucky. Start each session with 6 karma. Pretty sure we got that. Yep, that's the moss pack. Danger sense. Can only be surprised on a roll of 1. Again, boon. Okay, got that. Ooh. Deal finder. Roll 2 more dice for any one gear table. Oh, we don't have those. Hardy constitution. Boon to saves versus adverse environmental effects. Contamination, poison. All we have is poison. And that we already got inclination for that. Or a 2 in 6 chance of breaking. That works too. Sand. Once per fight, you can blind someone. Maybe you could sacrifice it to succeed on a miraculous save. Use it like some beasties lose their tail. That would be neat. What's the blue-tailed skinks or whatever? The little tail just boop. Finding those everywhere around here. Jacker, gain a boon to hack into computers. We don't have that. Klepto, I already have that. Leadership, can share your karma with any... Moss Giver, yep, we got that one. Leadfoot, boon to driving vehicle. Actually, can I do this? Oh, you guys aren't totally in the dark. Ah. Not quite. You're not going to be able to see both. You can see a little more of it at least. If you do it, you have a bane on attacks until you replace it. Does Moss and Stone have damage or something related to fatigue? No weather conditions. It would fit well into the setting and whatnot, but a little much for easy d6. If Moss and Stone, if I end up making it its own thing with its own rule set, that would definitely be like an optional rule or something. Leadfoot, boon to driving vehicles. We don't have vehicles in Moss and Stone. Gain a boon to avoidance saves, which is your miraculous saves. Oh man, just a straight up boon to miraculous saves. That's pretty intense. Might check that one out. Marksman, well, we already have that. Medic, boon to medicine, that does not apply. Miasma Siphon, can use, that does not apply. Yeah. Bird boned or iron boned? We had something like the miserable condition. When the environment is dangerous, you can't heal strikes by resting. Well, that'd be interesting. Would be. Mysteries of the Fall, boon to the knowledge of the wonderful world and understanding wondrous times tech. Okay, so we don't have tech. But could you have a boon to like just knowing things? I don't think so. Boon to resist miasmic anomalies or psychic attacks. Oh hey, there's a squirrel by my window. Munching some peanuts. If only I had a nature cam. Boon to spotting hidden enemies or dangers. I think we have something similar to that. Cannot be surprised. Boon to avoiding traps. Which I feel like is a hidden danger. Hiding and moving unseen. Finding hidden treasure. Okay, so maybe that one. Might have paranoid. Chaotic. Treat 2s as 1s, but reduce all success requirements by 1. Well, the problem is, if you're rolling multiple dice and one of them's a 1 or a 2, it doesn't matter. That's nuts. That does that. Gain 1 mental mutation, but the power fails on a 1 or 2. That doesn't apply. Quicksilver, move away from melee without having to roll a contest. Is that a thing? Oh, only applies if using the optional rules. Okay. Boon to escaping explosions. We don't really have those. Regenerative Gutworm. If injured, this hitchhiker creature heals a strike every hour or 4+ on a 4+, I'm sorry, or all strikes overnight. When you die, it makes you into an egg sac. Oh no. It's kind of like the hollow tongue stuff. Blending systems. That one's pretty cool. Oh, okay, so not that one specifically, but looking at critters and stuff, you know, they can get parasites and worms and stuff. What's something, what's a pro and a con we could have for that inclination? What's a beneficial parasite? Twice did. Beneficial to the host. A strike every hour. It's an interesting thought. Rider, you gain a boon to control and ride drumdards. Nah. Shield master, roll shields. Well, we have that. Silent killer, your melee kills are noiseless and do not draw attention if your attacker is surprised. Well, I don't feel like that really applies. Boon to melee, we got that. Slippery, we got that. Or do we? That's the stoat. The stoat has that built in, so I don't want that to be a inclination you can just pick. Symbiosis, symbiote, whatever. By definition, there is not a beneficial parasite. That's a good point. Could feed you roids. That's an alien parasite in Tortured Earth. It replaces your heart, but pumps you full of performance-enhancing chemicals. You could have a symbiote that like consumes double. What do I call them in this one? Resources, rations. Supplies. They consume an extra supply every day. But that would be too easy to hand wave because a lot of people won't be playing lengthy games where supplies come into effect. Molds and yeasts. Stalker. You use cover and timing to sneak past enemies, boon to stealth, and cover counts 1 rank higher for you. Oh, that doesn't apply. We don't have that. Swirling attack. Could attack all targets next to you. See, the problem is, and this is core easy D6, you only get a couple inclinations. You get 3 if you're a human, 2 if you're anything else. So I went with the route, everybody gets 2 inclinations because your species has so much stuff it comes with. But you also have predator abilities that you get. So like swirling attack here, that would be like a predator ability. So that's why I'm kind of struggling to find inclinations. Which is fine. We don't have to have a bunch. We can keep it at 4 tables if we need to. Tough some bitch. If you take your last strike, you get an extra save of 4+. Don't I already have... Maybe not. That's a predator ability. Meat eater, durable. Taunt. Heightened senses, distract, random cowboy, predator panic. Counterattack. Yeah, I already got a lot of damage dealing predator abilities in here. And a boom. You have a powerful yeast inside you. It allows you to ferment liquids but cannot drink water as is. Basically, you become Mr. De Groot. Your body is your own distillery. Maybe the parasite forces 2 boons now for 2 banes on your... Ooh. Kind of like forcing more vitality on it. Later, Peter. I like the idea. Add a boon to anything of your choice for one action. Any action of your choice, but your next action rolls with a bane. On the board it goes. Let's see. Which y'all can't see. Symbiote or something. Add a boon to one action of your choice at will, but the next action rolls with a bane. That's cool. Alright. Trap breaker. Boon to disable traps and gain a boon to avoid the same. Well, we have that. Sharpshooter, negate the far range bane from shooting out of a moving vehicle or on a mount and gain an armor bonus. No, that don't apply. Gain 1 physical mutation, which lets you pick another inclination. Yacky boons when talking your way past bad stuff or just making new friends. We got that. Okay, I'm gonna write down, even though I think I have it circled back there, something with animals. Talk down a bear or something. The wild side of moss and stone. There's also sandwiches we have to watch out for, since those give you an effect for the day. Alright, physical mutations. Echolocation can move and find in the dark. When moles got that. Hardened scales. Add a 1-step bonus to the armor save. Nope. Against the biggies. What's that? Hold your breath for 1 hour. With your spring muscled legs, you can leap. Prehensile tail. Gain a second free... Oh, here you go, Wiz. Piss on with the tail. Gain a second free action. And boon to grappling. And last chance saves to avoid falling. I like that one. Tusks or horns, second melee attack that hits. You just get to... Oh, I get it. Oh, that's neat. You get a second melee attack, but it only hits on a 6. I like that one. No, the talk down the bear thing just for animal bigger. Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to think, are all the wild animals in Moss and Stone pretty much bigger than you are? Because, like, well, no, I guess lizards are kind of, they're the wild animal. Well, I mean, they're bigger than you because you're the lizard rider. I guess you could have wild animals and then beasties, and that's the big ones. Moose and bears and antelope, things that squish you. Catnip sensitivity. If you have a pouch of overwhelming herbs once a combat, you can sniffle the pouch and guarantee the predator roll. But you roll attacks with the... Oh. Interesting. Or are they sentient frogs? I like to think they're pretty dumb, don't know what's going on. The polioviruses create jackalopes. Maybe you can get a horn. Weird. Okay, let me steal this one. Put that on the board. Where's my board? There we go. All right. Act as hidden weapons and boon to climbing and grappling. I already got that. Rubbery. Enemy needs at least 4+ to land a strike on your flexible body, and you take 1 less strike from explosives and falling. So, in core Easy D6, enemies have to roll a 3 to hit a player, and then their armor save kicks in. So just upping that would be pretty good. Make your shield bearer even stronger. If melee attacked or grappled, inflict a return strike on a 4+. That's hedgehog territory. Can throw your sandwich as a weapon. It just explodes. Sandwich nuke. That would be cool, though. I don't know how you would justify it, flavor text it. But if you pick, like, the chef perk that gives you the 2 sandwiches, and then there's another inclination that allows you to use sandwiches as weapons. But, like, really destructive, devastating weapons. The sandwich bomber. Oh. Alright, Sticky Spittle. Once per scene, as a free action, you can spray an enemy in the eye on a 4+ and blind them for a turn. So that's kind of what we're talking about with the mole. With the poison. Poison spit. That's basically pocket sand, what Cyros was saying earlier. Which isn't a bad idea. Alright. Mental mutations. Probably none of these will apply. Befuddle. Target within sight forgets what they were doing for their next turn, thus losing it and are considered stunned. Miasma roll. Yeah, these are... Well, they're not all... They're mostly miasma rolls. So these are like magic things. Scan brains for information. Detect nearby psychers, interfere with the flow of miasma through other beings. Yeah, these generally aren't going to apply. Teleport. That's kind of cool how the Life Taker one works. Mind Force, fleeing enemies and violently, yeah. Well, precognition, as your free action, avoid a strike that hits, and the attacker hits themselves. No, because we already got a couple counterattack things going on. Like my little note there that says, don't forget this time about karma. Bad Pickler. Put your sandwiches in a closed bottle, jar, or sack of ferment one day. Throw it for a rotten explosion. Something you pickle starts fermenting. You are doing it horribly. Alright, DNA modifications. Advanced taste buds can tell if food or water is contaminated or poisoned. Recognize the taste of someone's blood and tie it in. Okay. That one. Flexible skeleton boon to escape restraints. Not active grappling. Take one less strike from explosives. Falling. I didn't know you could take multiple strikes from explosions and whatnot. Boon to save versus heat and fire. I guess you could do things like that. Fermented pickles are a real thing. Yeah, so are those nasty looking Kool-Aid pickles. Gross. Oh. But I mean, like, yeah, we don't have magic, but there's still fire in the world. So... oh, well, we can look at that one. Idyllic memories, implanted memories of the wondrous times, recount a memory once again. Oh, that's neat. But what's the difference? Okay, so implanted memories of the wondrous times, recount a memory once a game to gain 2 karma. What's the difference between that and just starting with 2 karma? Or 2 extra karma? That'd be kind of the same thing, wouldn't it? I guess you could stack that with the one that lets you start the session with 6. Candy pickles. Them things yucky. Modified kidneys. Purge a level of contamination at the end of the day. I guess you could do that with the poison. Like, maybe redundant though. Nicotinating membrane automatically triggers to protect eyes against glare, dust, or anything but a roll of 1. Okay. Oily excretion, a boon to escape from grapples and bane. We got that covered. Sleepless. You do not have to sleep. We don't want that one. Can survive on food. That doesn't really apply. I don't think. Boon to connect with ancient computers, but we don't have those. Hidden compartment, a secret flap to hide one small item. Marsupial pouch. Have we added blubber? That could be the fireproof one. Secret flap to hide one small item. That doesn't really apply. Language module. Almost instantly understand any language. Nope. Act as twin-linked flashlights. You have consumed the day's ration and up to 5 companions. Ew. That's gross. Resting for the night heals 2 strikes. Overdrive. Once a day, burn a strike. Oh. Man, that's kind of steep. But I like it. The android can absorb sunlight through skin, charge up to 6 devices. That doesn't apply. Shielded innards can only be affected on a roll of 6 from an EMP. Well, we don't have those. And that's it. Well, we got something to work with here. Candied is preserved with sugar syrup, makes the foodstuff have a sweet flavor. Candied jalapenos are fantastic. They are very good. It's hot liquid syrup, but I don't know if it needs to be specific. Yeah, I don't know how the candied process works. Gliding, you have discovered the bird's secret. You have a boon to avoid damage from... Well, we already got that. If you are a squirrel, you can gain wing flaps and you can fly. We do have the falling thing. Just in case you cannot be struck by lightning. Alright, let's put some of these on the board. Y'all, it's so hot in here. I don't like it. Okay, y'all can't. That ain't gonna work. Okay, so let me hide that. Let me go back to the beginning of the list here. So, actually, let's do this. Acrobatic. Boon to precarious circumstances. That's good enough. Alright, so... Animal empathy. Gain a boon to animal interactions. But for moss and stone... Boon to wild animal interactions. Beasts, large creatures. Something like that. Oh, well, see you later, Beyond Final Fantasy. Then we got... Lucky. Boon to M saves. That one's pretty strong, man. Wind speaker. Birds can understand you. Gain a boon to riding birds. You still have to convince them. So we've kind of been running it like birds can sometimes talk, sometimes can't. Remember, like the dragon thing? Some can talk, some can't. Is there an inclination that disconnects you from magic? Well, there really isn't magic in moss and stone. You have the whisper stones. That's about it. Just scrolls. And you know, the corrupted whisper stone. So I don't know what disconnecting from magic would be. Ooh. Got a little off kilter. Boon to spot hidden enemies or dangers. What else did we have? The tail. Gain a second free action and a boon to grappling and M saves. Let's gain a second melee attack that can only hit on a 6. Still crit. Rubbery. Enemies need 4. Ooh, not that. I meant that essentially stones wouldn't work on you, but neither does moss. Ooh. Well, the players are the only ones generally. I guess you could do it the other way, but I was gonna say players are the only one using whisper stones. You could have some bandits with some whisper stones or something, I guess. But if that also nullified corrupted whisper stones, that would be way too strong. But it's interesting. Forsaken by the green and gray, yeah. That sounds more like an interesting setting, an adventure to do. Where the Whisper Stone stopped working and no moss grows. And that would be the name of the adventures, Forsaken by the Green and Gray. Alright, so if we hit the stretch goal, you two gotta get together and write that. Make it happen. Oh, sticky spit. Alright, sticky spit. That's spot. Once per scene as a free action. Spit an enemy. Man, I'm just struggling. And blind them for a turn. Bane to all actions. I don't think that's gonna make it. Yeah, you two. Twice Dead and Wisp. Y'all gotta work together. Make it happen. You'd argue that corrupted stones that you use simply don't work and hollow tongues still affect you. But maybe initial corrupted don't either. Maybe, maybe. Advanced taste buds. I think that's a good one. Poisoned. Because like poison's a new mechanic, so you might find poisonous stuff, and you just know it's poison, like no roll. It's just like, yeah, that's it. Boon to save versus heat. Such weird names for these things. Protects the eyes against glare, dust, or glare, dust, blinding things. On a roll of anything but a 1. I think that's a good one. Especially if you're going up with a hollow tongue that used, or yeah, a hollow tongue that had the stone that did light things. Like you, I would say that one not only protects you from being blinded, but like you could see right through its illusions and whatnot. Overdrive. Once a day, burn a strike to take 2 actions. I just don't know if that one's worth it. Maybe I like burn 6 karma to take a second action. But then I guess, you know, you use your health and then you use a bunch of karma to make the most of that. Okay. So let me slide this over here. Word. Oh, takes up the whole screen. What do we want? Inclinations. I was looking for whisper stones for some reason. Okay. I like my possum tricks. If you're the last one still standing, you can pretend to be dead, tricking predators into leaving you alone. Works on a 5+, and karma can be used. Maybe a lightning storm has hit and it hasn't gone away. The underground fires make the ground too hot for moss to grow. Ooh, and the stones are magnets to lightning. Root fires, terrifying. Look at there. It's got it figured out. I guess these all need to be blue. Okay, so looking at our list, add a boon to a task of your choice, or an action. Action of your choice, but the next action will roll with a bane. I don't know how this one's gonna work. When trying to communicate with wild animals and beasts, roll with a... something like that? Okay, what are the ones I really like? Once a day, burn a strike to take 2 actions. Would that be a lizard whisper? Well, wild animals and beasts, that would be, could be bears, deer, moose, you know, things like that. Not critters. I don't think this one's really gonna work, but I'm gonna put it on there. Try and find a way. Protects the eyes from blinding effects such as dirt, bright lights, and the like. Must roll anything but a 1. Ref. Wildland Whisperer. Yeah. Oh, I definitely want this one. Can tell if food plants are poisonous without rolling. Rubbery. I like that one. Enemies need to roll 4+ to hit you. Reference rubbery. Wasted world. And this will be a good one. Gain a second melee attack that will only hit on a 6, but can still crit and crit confirm. So the question is though, does that's a second melee attack, so if you have boons, you get your boons. But if you're the swarm dude, where every die counts as a hit, you could technically roll your 2d6, get 2 hits, that's 2 damage, roll again. I mean, you'd have to get 2 6s, I guess, but then you could again, and that'd be like 4 damage. But you can also do that critting, so. It sounds massive, but when you think about it, it's like, meh. Which is good. We do not want a massively strong inclination. What was that? Tusk. I don't think that's the right name. Yeah, well, that's what I was just saying twice. It's the same thing, so. Just when you first think about it, you're like, these hits. But no, it's just like spending a bunch of karma on crits. Boon to the miraculous saves does not count for poison saves. Reference. Okay, well, we only need one more. The tail. This one I'm not sure about. A boon to grappling and miraculous saves to avoid falling. He might be the luckiest around, but toxins are toxins. That's right. So let me do a little search for grapple. That's the predator roll. Boon to avoiding grapples. Oops. That's just the snake. These are enemy things. Grappling hook gun. Hedgehog. When enemy attempts to grapple, you roll with a boon. If you roll a 6, yeah. So that's fine. Slippery. You can escape a grapple. It just happens. Oh, you can roll to escape a grapple. Okay. Man, you could be a super slippery stoat. Okay, I think that's fine. That's fine. I was worried. Oh, well, no, we have biter. Using your teeth while grappling, your grapples now roll with an additional boon. And then this gives you a boon to grappling and other things. Okay, well, I like that better than this. So biter needs a new one. We have more to choose from over here. Paranoid. Acrobatic. I like acrobatic. And we don't have anything like that, I don't think. Okay, let's do that. Or did I already do that? Add a boon. I did not. Okay, so boon to precarious circumstances. Riff. No prosthetic? Nah, I think that was gonna be too much. I also don't know if this world has prosthetics, and but that's something you could put in your world when you're running this. But I don't know if I want to like hard define that. But it would be very cool. Wooden limbs. The mouse losing his fake eye every combat encounter. But mostly, Wisp, I think it's just would be too many steps for an inclination. Too much going on. Not so much that it's too good, even though it would be very strong. Just too many moving parts. That's something I realized, So, Easy D6, I would say, is a simple game, right? Rules light. But there is a lot to keep up with, like all your job abilities, your inclinations and stuff. And I realized that when I went to go, because I'll play nuts by myself frequently. Like, it's very easy to do. You can handle 3 or 4 characters yourself, no big deal. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to run some test encounters by myself with Moss of Stone to test a few things out. That's when I saw the mole was lacking. I was like, man, that's just a lot of little things to keep up with. It's not bad for one player and one character, but when you're trying to move 3 of them, it's like, ugh, gosh. And then remember all of it yourself. I play with my nuts by myself. Scrat 2026. That's right. Okay, sometimes you got to. No pickled sandwich grenades, man. I like that. You know, let me write that down. Because I do like that idea. I just don't know how to make it work. But I could probably think about it. Pickled sandwich grenades. How do work? There we go. Let's see. So let's do one pass on the species. Perfect landing for the squirrel. If you voluntarily jump from any height, you don't take fall damage. If you are pushed or knocked off and fall a distance that would normally hurt, you roll 1d6. Take 1 strike of fall damage if you roll a 1. So that's pretty good. Kind of conditional, but still pretty good. Expert climber, boon to climbing actions. If using all 4 limbs, you are able to move across surfaces at any position. Now that one you can use all the time. I almost feel like, though, all 4 limbs. It'd be cool if you were a squirrel archer and you were just hanging by your feet upside down from the ceiling. When making your roll for supplies for the day, the mouse will always bring back something. Tiny duties, so that's something you can use. Hiding and squeezing in small places. That's kind of conditional too. Hedgehog. You can damage people and grapple stuff. Otter. Really good in the water, and then he's got his natural engineer. Badger. Predator rating by 1 strike. So he has 2 things that are just always active. And then when he needs to, he has the strength boon. So the badger's pretty solid. And then when he fixed up the mole, gave him a big one. Oh, geez. I didn't realize that. The hare rolls with miraculous saves with a boon. We just made that inclination. Could you stack those? Your miraculous saves roll 3d6? Holy crap. We might need to redo that inclination. Big ear, do you have exceptional hearing? That's a really good perk. Handy paws, you have developed dexterity and back paws for what your front paws normally. Yeah. But see, the reason I wrote the squirrel one to be like, you have to use all 4 feet to basically run across the ceiling was to keep people from just, yeah, I'm just going to hide on the ceiling where they can't hit me with their swords and pew, pew, pew with my bow, so. Lucky can be lost by rolling a 1 in either die? What one was that one? Stoat, Slippery, that's a good one. War Dance is a good one. Victory Dance. Yeah, so Stoat's good. So we actually have a couple that the squirrel's not. The mouse doesn't have much going for it. Squirrel, maybe. Hedgehog's pretty good. Lucky can be lost for the day by rolling a 1. Oh. Yeah. Oh, we also had this one, catnip sensitivity, a pouch of overwhelming herbs. Once a combat, you can sniffle the pouch and guarantee the predator roll. You roll attacks with a bane. Yeah. And to be fair, his forager thing, even if you're playing longer term, is not. It's interesting, but it's not like powerful. So what could the mouse do? What do mice do other than hide and get eaten by everything? Tiny body. You can't be poisoned. There's nothing to poison. I feel like that worked the other way around. Extremely susceptible to poison because you're so small. Shield bearer with catnip. I don't get banes, dummy. That's right. That's right. Mouse nose can detect poison. Yeah. I mean, I guess there's no crime in having a perk also be an inclination option and a species option, right? Or maybe they're just better at it. So the inclination, you just don't have to roll. So maybe the mouse, like on a 3+ or something, you can detect. So are mice just good at sniffing in general, or like particularly poison? Because I'm wondering if we could give them some kind of thing like, hey, you can smell poisons and this and that and the other. Then that would kind of lean into their forager thing to like finding stuff. Oh, you can smell. I was thinking of Ratatouille, but I wasn't going to bring it up. Do a little Googling. Are mice good at sniffing? Mice are exceptionally good at sniffing, both in raw sensitivity and the way they process odors. Mice have one of the best senses of smell among rodents. Superior smell, the strength of a mouse. I don't know what that word is. Mice possess one of the largest families of olfactory receptor genes among mammals, while approximately that number. The mouse's acute sense of smell is the primary tool for navigating its environment, governing immediate survival and reproductive success. Predator detection is a constant application of their sensitivity as mice. Okay. So maybe not just poisons, but like they can sense dangers ahead of time. Mouse whiskers help give danger sense. Well, yeah, that's what I was just thinking. If you can feel the wind on whiskers plus smell, lets you know dangers nearby. So just doing on predator roll to start. Survivor's nose can detect poisons, parasite, eggs. Ooh. Bomb sniffing rats. Spread deadly disease. Okay, so hang on. Let's do... I don't know what to call it. The nose. The nose. So... But say this is the thing, like... I like the idea, like, oh, you gotta roll 3+. That's good for when you're like, hey, is this poisonous? But if you add in things like, oh, can sense danger, foul waters, or something up ahead, like, then the player has to be rolling constantly, like, do I smell anything? Do I smell anything? So that's kind of annoying. So it's like, I want it to be automatic. But then you start running into overpoweredness, or the GM making a mistake. So, bubonic flea toss. Plague be upon ye, said the mice. So let me just write it down here. Can smell, sniff out, poisonous, foods, plants, foods and plants, large creatures in the distance, foul, bad waters. Yeah, that's something like that. Mustache. Can smell, sniff out poisonous foods and plants and large creatures in the distance. Foul. But like, if you're doing a dungeon run and you sniff a large creature around the corner, like, what does that do for you? Like, cost the place. Well, there is no plague, or a plague doctor, however, that would be cool. Yeah, danger sense, but see, there is an inclination that is danger sense that lets you sense traps and stuff. Parasites could be, oh, they could be a huge part of this game. Could they, a little out there, but could they like sniff once you're in combat? Like, could they smell something on the creature that provides a bonus to the party? Without, you'd have to limit that to like 1 round or something. Well, let me read some more of this article, see what's up. That's not the article. Ability to identify relatives chemically. Whoa. Sample their environment, allowing them to precisely localize and track odor sources. So they're good at tracking. The mouse is like long-term play pick. A boon to the predator roll if you sniff what it is. Ratolas, what does your mouse know smell? There's a bobcat. Could be a mile. Find that tree. Maybe the enemy rolls with a bane because you can mentally prepare. Mm-hmm. Thinking. Only in the initial roll, yeah. Or like first round of combat kind of thing. We're on the right track. Utilize the nose. No one can detect what ley line influence is stronger. Could the mouse be good at smelling magic? Well, we got the rabbit with the ears. It's real good at hearing whisper stones very far away, so we kind of have that already. And since that's like the only magic in here, so they can also differentiate between whisper stone and hollow tongue. But just by hearing it, I mean, obviously anybody can look at it and tell the difference. Smell the type of stone. In other words, just get the preacher's ability or scholars or whatever to just determine what it is. It's a bit much. On a roll. Now that would be nifty. Yeah. That would be pretty nifty, and I like it. Actually, I wonder if that should be an inclination. Because I was going to say I really like it, but as a mouse, as a species perk, it feels kind of like the otter and the mole thing, where it's a little too niche. But if it's just an inclination. But if it's an inclination, I wonder if it would step on the scholar's toes too much. What is it? Is it the scholar? Right? Scholar. Identify whisper stones on the spot. Now, the scholar did get a buff in the sense like they can manipulate the predator roll. And they get a lot of whisper stones. Yeah. So that might be okay. To make that an inclination. Maybe sniffing could narrow it down to one chart. Basically determining one of the roles. One can hear, one can smell. Former knows what kind. The latter knows the direction. Okay, let me... Okay, so let's do that. I have it written down. Well, the hare slash rabbit can pretty much do that. Twice did with their hearing. Since the whisper stones are always making a weird whispering sound, they can hear it super far away and find their way to it. Dire Docks, I would assume, or it doesn't say. Or Jolly Roger Bay. I always get those two confused. No, I don't know which one. One of the two. I'm gonna go with dire ducks. Now I want to know. Let's go find out. Let's see if I was right. Dire ducks. I was right. So, what we could do is we could take out the inclination that lets you sniff poisons and whatnot, give that to the mouse, buff it up, and then replace that inclination with the Whisperstone sniffing. The magical nose. I would say a mouse couldn't sniff it out, but if it's in your hands, a sniffer mouse could. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That smells like the Whisperstone of moss. Well, if we make it an inclination, it wouldn't be sniffing the Whisperstone. It would just be like you pick up the vibe from it and have an inkling of what it is. Actually, so you could do. That would be interesting. We could do it like this. The inclination is, though it might be a little bit cumbersome, but I was gonna say on a roll, we'll just say 5+. If you roll 5 or higher, you determine exactly what it is. If you roll anything else but a 1, then you know what table it's from. But then the players would have to like look at the table and be like, okay, it's one of these 6 things, and you generally want to avoid that, but it could make it interesting. This one smells fishy. The hare can hear that there's a Whisperstone in the area and the kind maybe not being able to follow it to the source. That's what the smell is for. Sniff, sniff. Okay. So your mouse, and this kind of makes sense too, if we give the mouse the nose perk where he can sniff all kinds of things. He's your very survivalist. Like, he's got the forage thing, and then he can sniff all the dangers ahead and what's coming up and everything, whether something's safe to eat, and then he's able to hide all the time. I feel like that's very mouse-esque, so. Very handy little guy to have for long-term play. That's funny though, I like that. Mouse grip. Give him a beard. Yeah. Alright, well that's cool. What do y'all think about the squirrel? You think he needs something? You don't take fall damage. If you get knocked off of something, you have a very solid chance to roll of not taking damage, and then the climbing thing. My little headcanon is that the whispers are directly put in your mind. The hare can untangle the whispers to know the kind, but is no Geiger counter. You're pretty close, or at least the way I've been envisioning it. It was very in the mind kind of thing, but it like makes no sense. It's almost a language that would make you go mad. It's like the Whisperstone wants you to find it. So, problem with the squirrel is like both are kind of good, so I feel like giving him one more thing would make him too good. And I intentionally underperformed the squirrel because I figured everybody would assume I'd make it overpowered because squirrel. But I know if I let you hang from the ceiling and shoot a bow, that would get so abused. Memory, you have a small chance noticing anything hidden. I guess because, you know, they're always burying stuff. They can tell when there's hidden loot somewhere. Even though we have that perk. Inclination, whatever. Actually, I like that. Pick locks, in essence, they get into all the bird feeders. Yeah, Wisp. Natural lock pickers. If we had a raccoon species, they would definitely have something along that lines. I like the idea of treasure spotter or something. And spot hidden treasures. Similar to the inclination, so rework the inclination to be more about traps. So the squirrel's good at getting into loot, but he doesn't recognize traps. Little striped Houdinis. Okay, I think that will be fine. Coons are crazy smart. I think I got a coon coming around messing up my pond. So I have, in the pond, I have 2 fence planks that I went and got. And I took the router and just kind of zip, 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 made steps in them, basically. I originally made them for the birds, because sometimes the birds will get in the pond and struggle to get out. So that was just a little something they could crawl up and down. But the turtle also likes sitting on it, too. In the morning, he's just all sprawled out on them. But I've noticed the past several weeks this year, I'll wake up and I'll look out the window and the planks are just knocked off and in the water, sinking and everything. So for the past, I don't know what, 4 years, didn't have that problem. Now I can't keep them there to save my life. So I guess like a coon's trying to get down on him and get in the water, and he's too heavy for him, so these. Didn't need a lot. A nice little situational writer like that to find goodies is pretty good. I'm gonna assume writer was a typo, but I can't figure out what it was supposed to be. Oh. Maybe we'll pull in your catnip one, because I did like that one. Other than that, I think that's all. I of course need to do more play tests. So actually, since we're here, this is my pickle that I'm in. I really enjoy streaming this process of making this entire game. It's, you know, kind of fun for people to see, but like it gets messy in the play testing phase because people that are interested are watching it. So if you stream the play test, everybody knows how that session goes, like that map. So if when you go to find more playtesters, they're like, oh, I've already seen this map and how it's run, so I know everything that's going to happen. And that leads to me having to make more varied playtest sessions instead of like making 3 or 4 and then running them over and over and over again for various people. But like I would imagine it's very good to see a game in development get tested and how that looks. So I don't know what to do there. A 20. Scrap, who half a month ago lost 20 bucks in his own room. That's me. That's me. Ribbon ability, whatever you want to call it. Gotcha. Another map like Logan's Manor. Something. But you know, I like it. I feel like that's a better test too, because like obviously, you know, I know people would be willing, even though if they've seen it, they're like, oh no, I can, you know, pretend I haven't seen it and play my character accordingly. I know they could, but I still think it's better for testing when a player sees the map for the first time. Like that is their first time running through that adventure and also trying out that game. So, and you know, there's other times too when you want people more familiar with it. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna kind of grindstone this one, just try it a few times. So, the Whispered Corpses 10K scenarios. Old Bomberman 64. Oh. And I could be making like just cheap one-shots too. It's like, hey, here's a basic dungeon, some traps, enemies. You know, I don't have to make them as involved as I do. You know me. Over prep, over plan. Golden Horde, a famine has struck the village. A beehive is the only food source for miles. Is guarded by a bear cub and the bees themselves. Playtest that centers around climbing and more to come. The suspense is killing me. But that does sound pretty good. I have been wanting to make a treetop map. I just couldn't figure out how to do it. I was talking to Glee about that the other day. It's like, how do you handle the vision so they don't just see the whole map, but it's not like they're blind? And we actually came up with a cool solution. I just gotta figure out how to do it. Basically take tops of trees and build them like roofs in the VTT, so when you go in that zone, it disappears and you can see in there. Viney centers around climbing, fighting off a cub while trying not to alert the mother, and athletics. Fall out the tree. Ah! I like it. Get some honey. Honey, 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 honey. Alright, well, that was what I wanted to accomplish today. Bonus points for mouse and squirrel. Well, not to be confused with moose and squirrel. That worked out pretty good. We got lots of inclinations. We just ripped them all from Wasted World. We changed a few. Came up with our own. And maybe we'll figure out how pickled sandwich grenades work. What are your favorite types of scenarios to run? Probably just basic dungeons, because those usually work the best with like some kind of twist ending. I like doing that. A little surprise at the end. I know in the back of my mind I keep thinking and telling myself I'd like to do more involved ones, but that's, I guess, me just longing for the campaign experience that I started out with. Like the, I really liked, well, the Twice Dead Swamp was pretty darn cool, and that was pretty much a dungeon run. But like, I really liked the Caravan Escort one-shot. I thought that was great, but it's kind of long. So. Could say the tree is hollow, can go inside and face the bees. Or by the branches and risk the cub. Oh, you making a map plan? Oh. Meat wasp, honey. Whoa. That doesn't sound good. Man, make whatever you want, Wispy. It's your world. I'm just living in it. It's your one shot. But I am going to bounce. Go find me some grub or something. Make some dinner plans. We're starting our Sum Shot this weekend, this Saturday. We're going to do Session 0, Open Legend D6. We're going to talk about our characters, a little bit about the mechanics, and how we're going to work with the Blind Bard and all that. So, it's going to be super duper cool. Going to be fun. And then the next week at the same time, we will have Session 1. So, look forward to that. Nothing wrong with coming back to work before. That's true. That's true. But anyway, I will see y'all in just a couple days. 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. After this stream, I will go make that next stream public so you can see it. Until then, appreciate the help. See y'all later.